Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Bison Video Blog. Along with Jeff Kolpack, I'm Dom Izzo. Semi-final week is here as North Dakota State is among the Final Four teams playing for a sixth consecutive year, and a date with the Dukes of James Madison as the top half of the bracket is chalk there. 1 seed versus 4 seed with a date in Frisco awaiting the winner. The bottom half with Youngstown State and Eastern Washington, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But Jeffrey, the Dukes, who originally were the very first team the Bison played in 2011 in the FCS playoffs to start this magical run, now they come here with a chance to end it on Friday night.
Well, it's a team you think that it's probably maybe is where NDSU started the run in reality, if you think about it. And now they come back. Boy, you talk about the Dukes. The Dukes of Hazard. These guys can hazardous to defensive health for a lot of these teams. What, average almost 50 points a game, Dom. And you're talking about a team that scored over 80 points twice, put up 65 against Sam Houston, had 55, I think, against Elon, right, in the end of the regular season. I mean, these guys, I know some of the competition you might allude to isn't the greatest, but you're still scoring boatloads of points.
That's your counterpoint. I would tell you they scored 80 on Morehead State. It's a non-scholarship team. 56 on Central Connecticut State. 84 on Rhode Island, who might be the worst FCS team this season. And 63 on Elon, who wasn't much better. The win totals of those teams was 10. Granted, I know you got to do what you have to do, and they still put up points against a good New Hampshire team who made the playoffs. They beat Villanova on the road. But their offensive, they're very, very good, yes. But I'm curious to see if they played a defense like they're going to see on Friday night.
And what you're going to have to come down to here is, can NDSU slow them down?
Yeah.
And the formula that NDSU has to follow is what they did to South Dakota State, of course. Control the ball. It's hard for Brian Shore to put up all these numbers when he's on the sideline. And he's got, this is a little different team. They're a little more balanced, I think, with their offensive weapons than South Dakota State, which had the big three. But they still have some guys that can really, Abdullah comes to mind as a running back.
Let's talk first about Shore. He's the quarterback, and Ryan is going to roll the video of him. This was their next to last game of the regular season. On this play, Jeff, where he's rushing it, he got hit hard. You can see on the replay, he holds his shoulder here against Villanova. He left this game, a game that JMU ended up winning with its backup quarterback. That ended up clinching them the CAA championship. I will point out the fact they won on the road this year at Richmond, at Villanova, at Maine, at New Hampshire. Those are the 4 heavyweights of the CAA to join with JMU. You don't do that unless you're a really good football team. They did that. Now Shore has come back in the playoffs, and he's been just like he was the first 10 games of the season.
So that would be in the Missouri Valley, the equivalent of winning at Northern Iowa, at Illinois State, at Youngstown, and at South Dakota State.
Correct. That's basically the best way to draw that up. Also, they have a first-year head coach. Mike Houston is the head coach at James Madison. He came from the Citadel. Everett Withers was the coach at JMU last year when they had Vad Lee and that unbelievable offense. He was former Ohio State coach. He went and took the job at Texas State. He laid the groundwork, and to be honest with you, Jeff, JMU should have made a run last year. Remember, they got College Game Day. Lee got hurt. They got beaten the second round by Colgate. So maybe they're just a year delayed of how good they should have been.
So you asked the question, how does a coach take over a program his first year and get it this far? You're right. There's a lot of talented pieces in place. But now, he was on the conference call this morning, on the CA conference call, and what he said is they needed to have a different mindset, though. They had to have a more physical mindset. When he comes in, when Mike Houston took that job, he said the culture of the team needs to increase a little bit, and he cited specifically NDSU. When NDSU has that blueprint of physicality, he said, then you have to try to match it, and that's what they tried to do in the offseason.
Khalid Abdullah is the outstanding running back that Jeff referenced, 20 touchdowns this season, averaging nearly 120 yards a game. So this is different than what they saw last week with South Dakota State. This is a guy who can kill you with his legs. And Shore is a really good runner. He ran for 10 touchdowns as well this year.
And Mike Houston came from Citadel, so he brought a lot of those principles, those offensive principles at the Citadel, your favorite team, to the CAA. And in fact, you're to see a lot of option, too.
This team, and they can wing it all over the field. And I think for folks that watched them last Friday night, saw what they did to Sam Houston, like, my goodness, they were also really good on special teams. They ran a punt back. They blocked one. This is, I think the best way, and Chris Kleiman said it today, they are a complete football team, and this that's why you're here in the semifinals.
Number 1 team in the FCS in punt return yardage, and you saw good evidence of that last week.
And that's going to be right on Jackson Kuntz to see if he can keep up his unbelievable streak of not allowing a punt return. Now for the Bison side of things, this is old hat, Jeff. 5th year in a row they're playing on the Friday night semifinals, so they know the routine of finals week, graduation. I think that's a huge advantage for them as they get set for this game on Friday.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for been there, done that. And it comes down to where the preparation now is, I think Monday and Tuesday is condensed into one day. So if you talk to Chris Kleiman today, which is Monday, he's treating this day like Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so essentially they were game planning on Saturday night. There was no time to go have a couple toddies and celebrate the win. It was time to get back to work.
You look here, now we're curious to see if Pierre G. Tucker will get back into the lineup. By the time Friday comes, it'll be 4 weeks since the injury against South Dakota. He warmed up Saturday. Being a senior, this is the last game of the Dome. I'd be hard-pressed to think he doesn't play. This is a game where they could really, really use him.
They warmed him up, but the coaching staff wasn't convinced that he could go laterally like he needed to.
Right. Darius Shepard, they believe, after giving a half, that he might be full go for this game on the offensive side.
Did he look healthy to you?
He looked pretty good to me.
65-yarder?
He looked really good to me on that side of things. Offensive line, it looks like that there were some nicks and bruises there. Austin Cooner obviously had the elbow. Zach Johnson left for a play. Colin Connor, but Kleiman said that nobody should miss any time up front. And they've been, as we've talked about, the last 6 weeks, they've been out of this world.
They've been a machine. And they did that last year, too, where the Bison running game just picked it up. I think King Frazier's running harder just like he did last year at the end of the year. Yeah. He's running harder in the last month.
Other semifinal is another Missouri Valley team still ticking around. That's Youngstown State. They'll travel to the Red Turf in the Inferno in Eastern Washington. That's a Saturday night game, a 5:30 start. Youngstown, Jeff, playing its 4th game in as many weeks. The last time they had a week off was the end of September. Does it catch up to them on Saturday?
Well, it doesn't do you any favors when you have to fly across country like that. But we'll see what the weather is like in Cheney, Washington, because if it's a little snowy and cold, I think that favors the more physical team in Youngstown.
Now, I will say this. Eastern's defense has been better. They've been playing better on that side of the ball, clearly after you saw what happened on Saturday pitching a shutout against Richmond. And if Cooper Kupp gets healthy, he gets a little bit closer. This is a great match of two teams that are dynamic on offense and one that's dynamic on defense. It's just a clash of styles.
And it's two coaching staffs that have been around the block. Of course, everybody knows about the Pelini brothers and Bo Pelini at Youngstown. Bo Baldwin now, he's a veteran coach. He's been he's been there since, 2009?
Yes, and he just got re-upped for an extension, too, at Eastern Washington.
Surprised he probably hasn't had a shot at another level. He runs that offense that FBS teams like, has really recruited athletes there, but has had a couple opportunities, but is still there.
You look also at the guys he's recruited. I go look at Bo Levi Mitchell. I look at Tywan Jones, one playing in the CFL, one in the NFL. Kupp is going to be, we think, maybe a late first-round pick, maybe an early second round. And Gage Gubrud is on his way up to maybe being a very, very special player, too.
And
that's all recruiting on him.
It is. It's all recruiting on him, and he's proven to win. He's already won a national title, so he's got that on his resume.
Should be a fabulous weekend of football. Kolpack and I and everyone at the Forum and WDAY will have a full week of coverage leading it up. Earlier kickoff than normal in past years. Kolpack gets a 6 o'clock kickoff on Friday night. Full game day to get you ready for NDSU and James Madison. The winner goes to Frisco. We'll see you guys on Friday.